And then you guys have to be down to 85 by tomorrow at 4. When are you expecting to make those cuts?
Tomorrow.
All right, next question we have Josh Klein.
Hey, Matt, wondering your impressions of Brady Christensen at right tackle and then also at guard from after you watched the film. And then and then also Phil Hoskins on the other side. Sorry.
No worries. I thought Brady did well. We've been really pleased with him all camp. Athletic, you battled, you got beat inside a couple times. That's why he needs these reps. But I thought he did a nice job. Going into guard he has gotten very few reps at guard this camp. I think maybe one day for a couple reps, but him, as I said last night, him and Aaron Montero just had to go figure it out, based upon the situation with the guys going down in the practice. And so, both guys did a really nice job inside, but Brady, obviously we think he's an option for us at right tackle. And, I think we're pleased with the way he played for game one.
Next question we'll have from Scott Fowler.
Hi, Matt. Two quick ones, if you don't mind. The first one is just after watching the film, any of your under the radar guys really impress you? And if so, who?
I think Kenny Robinson, is a guy who I wouldn't say he's had a great camp. But he's one of those guys who the ball just has a way of finding him. He finds the ball. And it's one of the reasons why we drafted him out of the XFL, because he had so many interceptions. And he did it again last night, and made a nice play on the kickoff team. So I was happy for Kenny. I thought when Spencer Brown was in there at running back, you could feel him. And going back to Josh's questions about, Phil Hoskins, Phil has a long way to go. But, you saw a little bit of, some moments of explosiveness to him. Coming out of it, Scott, the guy that I was probably the most excited for is Marquise Haynes. He's played good football. We know that. But you can see him really starting to kind of come on. I think, some of the changes we made defensively in terms of how we line up are benefiting him as well.
And the other one, just do you anticipate running this week a lot like last in terms of really giving the starters a lot of reps against the Ravens and then not playing them Saturday night?
I will probably make a decision about whether they play Saturday night, and there's a chance that they'll play Saturday night. I'll probably make the decision Thursday after practice, and I'll let everyone know so the fans know what to expect and everyone knows. But I want to see kind of what our depth is, to be quite honest with you, and how we come out of those 2 days, and then make a decision moving forward.
Thanks.
Next question we have from Jonathan Alexander.
I was going to ask that same question, but along the same lines, what was the decision behind not playing the starters the first game? And then I'll ask another question.
I've answered that. Just 3 games in 12 days, 2 joint practices. So, we just wanted to get them as many reps as possible in practice. 2 days in a row with the Colts, 2 hard days, and then give them that game off, and then get them out here again versus the Ravens. I think that that would have been a lot to ask of them.
And based on what you saw from the game, what are some things that you're really focusing on this week with the Ravens?
Well, we brought the Ravens in. We agreed to this because of who they are, the physical team that they are, the mentality they have, the winning culture that they have, the great defense that they have, the Lamar Jackson, all the special players that they have. So, that in and of itself is a challenge, and why we did this. Both teams that we picked are really good teams, so we wanted to have a chance to match up, and see where we need to improve. And so, I think if there's anything coming out of that game, obviously it would be the penalties. If you're at the joint practices, we had very few penalties. Then we get in the game and we have penalties, right? So that's something that has to be corrected. And so that would, you'd say that would be a focus, but it's always a focus for us. So it just, guys got that first game. For some guys, the first game that they've played in the National Football League, got it out of their system, and hopefully we'll see improvement this week.
Next question from Darren Gant.
Matt, the weather seems to have been a factor in pushing tomorrow's schedule back a little bit. How much does that worry you going into a couple practices with the Ravens when it might not be ideal conditions?
Yeah, just not really anything I can do about it. I mean, it is what it is. So we'll go practice. I mean, we'll practice in the rain. I mean, it rained the other day with the Colts a little bit. Me and Frank and I had said, hey, we weren't going to go in the indoor unless we absolutely had to. There is no obviously indoor in Wofford, so that's why we're practicing first thing in the morning. And if it's unbearable, then we'll push the practice back to later in the day. But one way or another, we'll find a way to get practicing.
And you talked about the penalties, Matt. I mean, you've kind of leaned on those guys all camp with the DBO sign and go touch the sign and different things. How worrisome is it that, at this point in training camp, that's still an issue with as many as yesterday?
I don't think it matters when. I don't care if it's the first day. I mean, 10 penalties is 10 penalties, right? So whatever it was, 12. I don't know what the final number was on the sheet. I'm kind of a simple guy. I'm a process guy. Like, I think everything happens for a reason, right? So all of our starters were walking up and down the sideline yesterday, upset and saying like, hey, just don't beat ourselves with penalties and we'll win this game. So why do things like that happen? I mean, because everything goes from being Coach Rhule's process or Coach Rhule's standard or brand or whatever you want to call it to the Carolina Panthers. And the more that we get our team to understand that it's not about what you dress for game day or what they put about you on Twitter or 2-3 plays you made in the game. It's about what you do playing and play out. The better we're going to be. And I think culturally, organizationally, I think a lot of our players came out of that game improved because they were like, hey, if we just don't beat ourselves, we have a chance to win. And so whether that was a decision we made or a missed assignment or a penalty, that was really the message coming out of the game last night. So it's what I've been preaching since the day I got here. And you have to grow. It has to grow. It doesn't just happen overnight. So we'll stay on it till the day that it looks perfect.
Next question from Bash Ty Hurt.
Hi, Coach Rhule. Thanks for your time. You talk about the importance of getting better each day. Do you feel like the team left Indy better?
Significantly better. Thank you for that question. Significantly better. I think the first day, as I said to you guys, I think we went out there and we kind of dipped our toe in the water, and the Colts didn't dip their toe in the water. I think the second day we came out there and, if you were on that defensive field, I mean, our defense went out there and they said, hey, we're going to forge an identity. I think offensively, seeing Sam in the 2-minute take us right down the field, kick the field goal to win it. Like, I thought we came out of the second day feeling like, hey, we are a way better football team than we were even yesterday. In the game, I thought the twos played really well. I just thought at the end of the game, obviously we made too many mistakes and penalties to truly win the game. And so we're certainly not where we want to be, but I think the totality of why we did that, I think we're significantly better today than we were, when we got on the plane last Wednesday.
And then last two from Joe Person and Elena Getzenberg.
Matt, just wondered if you had any updates on your injured linebackers, Perryman, Johnston, and Stanford, and then also your approach to this kind of staggered cuts.
I think Clay Johnson will be ready to practice on Tuesday. I hope Julian is. I think he has a chance to be, and I don't think Denzel will be ready. I'm not, I have not yet seen him, but all indications are that he's not ready yet. So we'll operate, hoping that we have Clay, and then obviously Julian or Denzel would be a bonus. In regard to the cuts, when I'm done with you guys, we have a personnel meeting tonight, and we'll go through the roster and talk about each guy, and then make decisions as needed. Obviously, it's unique just taking 5 guys and 5 guys next week. So we'll try to be very methodical about it.
Then Elena followed in with Mike Solarte.
First, do you have any expectation that AJ will be available this week?
There's a possibility. We're not going to rush him though. We saw he had a really good early part of camp, and he's good OTA. So we want to make sure that we let him truly heal.
And then I was curious, Terrace has been practicing a lot with the first team and second team some, but why did you think it was important to have him play yesterday?
He's a rotational, first team guy. He goes in there kind of as like the third receiver. David Moore as well goes in there as the third receiver. But, he's not a true, in and out starter for us. And so now he's working to be. I don't want to say that in a disrespectful way, but so we thought, hey, let's get him some reps and get him out there.
Were you happy with what you saw from him?
It's like everyone else. There was some good and some bad. I love the fact that he made a catch. I can't stand the fact that they punched the ball out at the end of the play, right? So it's always just like, hey, let's just get better. And that's the key for the players coming out of this is, all right, the game's over. You saw your highlights, you saw the things you did well. Like, who's going to walk in the building, study the tape, and find all the things they did wrong? That's who the great players are. They live in, hey, what did I do wrong? And they try to fix it.
All right, Mike Solarte closes it out.
Thanks, Drew. Say, Coach, in terms of the quarterback rotation, do you have a plan or a thought about how PJ and Will go this week, whether or not Sam plays at all, that sort of thing? I mean, have you thought about, is Will getting a shot with the twos, or will you kind of stay the same? And I have a thought.
Yeah, I think part of that will come out of the personnel meeting we have tonight, and really this week too. I mean, in practices. But no matter what happens, I want to see Will play more this week. Have a chance to throw the ball a little bit more this week. So I think when he was in there, he did well, and he's been good. So I'd like to give him more of an opportunity.
And then you talked about how Haynes really showed out for you in Indianapolis, and he's obviously been around and had reps, in regular season games and that sort of thing. Are you looking for guys in the twos and the threes to show that they can basically be, look like a one when they're playing against those twos and threes, and that really make them stand out and jump maybe higher into the roster when you have to come down and make those final cuts? Yeah, absolutely. And like, I'll just say this, like, there'll be someone that gets, cut at the 53, probably, unfortunately, for them, but there'll be someone who's not on the 53 who at the end of the year is starting for us. Pretty much that happens for every team. So for me, it's not just about just making those decisions. It's about finding out what people can do and what they do well. And, we're always looking for guys who are going to make the jump, who are going to go from, good to great, or, make a real jump in what they can do. And I think, just watching practices, I think you see Marquise doing that. So there was an expectation he would go in the game and play really well. And, what I loved about Marquise is, in the second half, he wanted to play. Like, he was like, Coach, put me back in there. So, which is great. But, yeah. So I think, we made some changes. We have those guys playing in a little bit more of a 2-point stance, and I think Marquise, that fits Marquise, but also at the same time, I think he's really coming into his own in terms of developing, his pass rush moves and the things that he does well.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. We appreciate it.
All right, Joe. Take care, guys.